Hi, nobodies. So, this nobody, thank you, Butters. This nobody decided to stay in today. I mean, except for my little excursion this morning to Walmart. But I decided to stay in today because it was 50 degrees and it looked drab out there. I don't like rainy and in Arkansas. 50 degrees is a little chilly. So, yes, I love you, Butters. Somebody want. Oh, yeah, that's right. My hair's wet. You think you're a little kitty, don't you? I actually have Butters and Pumpkin on the bed today. Yes, love you. This one used to only pee on things on the floor. Now he's decided that the bar should not have books or notebooks on it. The books and notebooks belong to Butters now. I mean, it could be one of the other cats doing a frame job, but cats don't really do that. At least not that I've ever seen. Um, but yeah, today was blech as far as outside goes. As far as me, eternal sunshine of the upset mind. Or no, eternal sunshine of the. What was the name of that movie? Look it up. Eternal sunshine of the something mind. Now I have sunshine in my heart and in my head. And I know that sounds stupid. I'm feeling a bit goofy. Um, um no, I'm not going to start over. I was going to. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just keep going, even though I'm not really going anywhere. I really don't like days like today. But there was cake. If there's cake, it's a good day. I like cake. Um, oh, and I started a project. It's going to be a blanket. Right now, it's only the size of my head. Because yes, I crochet, I knit. I've got probably like 50 unfinished projects. Some bigger than others. Because I'll think I'm gonna do granny squares, so I'll make up like so many granny squares before I'm like, okay, I am so done with this square. I don't want to do any more of this square, and I put it down for a while. And depending on my stress level affects my my sensory issues with my skin. So if I'm stressed or if I'm upset, things bother me a lot more, like just my pants rubbing my legs, my shirt rubbing my leg. It's like, ugh. Sometimes I can't even like read or play games on my phone because just this part of my arm rubbing across my belly will drive me nuts sometimes. Sometimes it's like, okay, it's time to watch TV because that's something I can do while being completely still. And then Precious will come lay beside me, and that's fine till she starts washing herself and I feel the fur. Oh, being mental. Um, I'm not like my son's got it to a higher degree than me. Uh, he doesn't like tags, which I handle tags pretty well. Uh, but there are some that it's just like, do you ever find yourself in public and you're like, okay, my underwear has slipped to the right position to where the tag of my pants is rubbing my back. So you find yourself in the store pulling your underwear up or tucking in your shirt to get in the way of that tag. I have found myself doing that. Um, it sucks. Now, I say my son's got it worse because he'll wear just about any shoe without socks on. When the socks go on, and I have tried many different kinds of socks, when the socks go on, very few shoes will get worn because he will start saying, ow, 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 ow. Now, he does have flat feet, so that could have something to do with that, but I think that part of it has to do with he's got these sensory things. Like, I don't think, I think the seams in the sock. And the thing is I checked. I mean, I've looked for socks that have no seam, or socks for autistic kids. And every sock, even when it says it's almost seamless, it's like I cannot find socks that don't have a seam in them. And I think a lot of people say, well, you can't get socks without a seam. There's got to be a way to make socks without a seam on them. Because trust me, autism, in the next 50 years, we're going to be seeing a lot more of it, I think. I think there's going to be a lot more cases of it coming up, because I think that it's something that is in our systems now. Because, I don't know that people were autistic 100 years ago. I mean, there might have been a case here or there, but I think the first time I heard about autism was in the 90s. Now, knowing how I am, I think that I'm on that scale. So at least somebody born in 1977 could have it, because I set myself there as someone who has it. But even if I don't, if you look at all of the cases that they diagnosed and they wanted to blame it on vaccines, well, I think you need to go further back, because I think that there's a lot of people like me who would probably test in the spectrum of being autistic, maybe more on Asperger's. Now, there's probably quite a few that would test on the autism scale that would have been considered special ed. But, people would just say, I mean, back when I was a kid, a child was just called mentally retarded. That's what you called, you were either physically retarded or mentally retarded or both. And that was pretty much all there was to it. Like, there wasn't, I don't recall anybody ever saying, oh, my kid's got this particular syndrome. It was always, he's retarded. That's just what, nobody was called autistic. Nobody was, and it's not because we've got a better handle on things. It's because people just want to label the specific mental handicap, like what part of the brain is damaged, what part of the body is damaged, to say this person is handicapped. What is their handicap? Like, we decided we wanted everything named. So I think autism could go back further, but I'd hesitate to say that it was around 100 years ago, because, I don't recall reading anything about, it's been suspected that some people might have been autistic that have long passed, but I think autism might be caused by man. I think, we fuck with a lot of shit we shouldn't fuck with. I mean, all of these innovations, all of these preservatives and drugs, and, you got vitamins over the counter that, vitamins don't even go through the FDA unless there's a problem. Then the FDA investigates. That's why Dexatrim, the old Dexatrim, I can't remember what was in it, but I remember when they started pulling it off the shelves, because they were like, no, nothing with this in it, because this causes this. And all of those vitamin supplements, they are not FDA approved. You don't know what you're putting into your body unless, you're really. So we need to go back to putting things that grow and rot into our bodies, not other stuff. If it grows and rots, that's it. None of this stuff that, it's preserved and it can sit on the shelf for 20 years and still be okay. What is that going to do to a body? We don't know. I mean, look at how long. I mean, before cigarettes were considered dangerous, they used to tell pregnant women to smoke so they wouldn't gain so much weight. These pregnant women could also drink like 3 or 4 glasses of wine. This is what humanity says, hey, let's do this. Now you look at, I will almost bet that if you look at the health of Amish people, they are probably healthier than us. Because what do Amish people eat? They eat what grows and rots. They eat what's born and dies. They don't buy canned vegetables from the supermarket. They grow their vegetables. Now they might can the stuff, but they do stuff that's been done. And I'll almost bet they've got less instances of a lot of shit that we've got, because they ain't messing with all the technology. Now, am I saying we should all be Amish? No. I'm saying we should really start looking at what we're putting in our body. This might be cheap, but what is it really doing to you? What the processes put in the food. There are conspiracy theories about the food industry and what they're doing to us. I mean, it's just, I think that a lot of the issues that are new things are caused by our innovations. Our, let's make this cheaper, last longer. Let's make this more sustainable, And farmers are, they ain't making any money. Farms are going under because when I go to the store, I can't afford a bunch of produce and fresh fruit. It's, you won't go into somebody's house and find bananas and grapes and apples and oranges and pear. You won't find, unless they've got like a fruit basket. But the average American home, you're going to find, maybe there's oranges, maybe there's bananas, maybe there's 1 or 2 fruits in that house. Maybe there's some salad stuff, and that's it. Because making stuff fresh, people don't do it. They don't have time because they're working 2 fucking, you got a mom and a dad both working 2 jobs so they can afford a crappy trailer and to feed their kids, because even if they both had 1 full-time job, they'd still make too much to get food stamps. So they work 2 jobs because they want to eat well, and they still can't eat healthy, and they don't have time to prepare the things. So they go for what's cheap, what's quick, and what makes their stomach stop rumbling. That is the American life. And we're killing ourselves. It needs to go, we need to take a step back on some things and say, hey, when it comes to feeding ourselves, we need to take a step back and say, let's go back to what we know has worked since the dawn of time. Were people getting cancer back in the Stone Age? Perhaps. But I'll bet the percentage has gone up. We're putting all kinds of crap in us, and chances are most of it is considered part of a well-balanced meal. And I was like, no, it's not a well-balanced meal. Am I saying all preservatives are bad? No. I'm just saying we need to go back to that. And that stuff, in all honesty, like the government should pay farmers to farm. And people should get free produce, free fruits and vegetables, if nothing else. You should be able to walk into the store and get what you need. Now, I mean, obviously, they're going to limit, you can't walk in and buy like all the apples. But, if you go in every day, you get an apple, an orange, some bananas, just little stuff to throw together for a meal, that should be free. And the government should pay the farmers to produce it. Now, granted, you got stuff that doesn't grow here, so that stuff you would have to pay for. But I'm sure that we can grow bananas in America somewhere. Make it to where people can grow stuff and live while being farmers, and make it to where us poor folks can afford to eat what the farmers grow. I mean, I guess that's why I'm kind of a communist. Kind of. I mean, in small forms, communism works. Everybody's got a job. Everybody's job is important. You do your job. You eat. You have shelter. You have clothing. You have what you need if you do your part. But anytime you make something small into something big, there's going to be somebody at the top fucking it up for everybody. Every single form of government is good at its core. At its core, it's a great idea. But when it goes big, there's always going to be somebody twisting it to benefit them. And, like I said, I prefer more of a communist thing. You do your job, you get what you need. You want extra stuff, you do extra stuff. Just like it is in a home. You tell your kids, you got to do this, you got to do that. And if you do those things, I'll get you something special. You get your allowance. And if they do extra, they get extra allowance, or they get something extra that they want in the fridge or the pantry. They say, hey, I want this. Okay, well, you're going to have to do this extra. So anyway, I am an idealist about things, but I think that everybody should be on the same level. I mean, a doctor doesn't have to be like super rich, but the fact that they have to pay so much for their schooling, that's why they charge so much money. I mean, it's hard for a doctor to be somebody who does free stuff, because even if he gets a tax break on it, he's still got to pay back those loans and stuff. So it's understandable to me that they have to make a certain amount of money in order to pay back their thing. But like I said, everybody's got a purpose. You got teachers that'll teach because they know how to teach and they know the subject. Then you got people who learn the subject, and then they do the job. Everybody can do something. And Indian tribes worked like this. Lots of civilizations work on the small scale. The only reason you need bigger government is to handle disputes between groups. That's it. The U.S. government should not be over my group unless my group has a problem with a neighboring group. Then they come in and they say, okay, what's the problem? Let's fix this. But as far as my day-to-day life, if my people say we're going to grow weed and we're going to smoke it, that's all right. If my group says crystal meth is legal here, that's what my group has decided. Now, if another group says, hey, we don't like that, then the government comes in and says, well, that's their group. Now, if one of their people gets all kinds of messed up, or one of their people brings it into your area, then we're going to enforce your law of not having it. We're going to enforce your law, because, you just keep your shit in your community, your tribe. And the only time the government needs to get involved is when somebody raids your tribe. When you've got like that kind of thing, or you've got a dispute about where the property line is, or one tribe can make something that none of the other tribes can make, and they're wanting to charge like this exorbitant price for it, then the government would step in and say, hey, you're the only person who has this. Stop trying to fleece them. You can't do that. Maybe something like that. But anyway, who am I? I'm just nobody. Just like all of you who don't watch me, we're all nobodies. But I do want to make a point to eat what rots, what grows and rots. And if you're not a vegetarian, if you don't have this hate towards killing animals to survive, if it's born and dies, that's what you need to put in your body. And make sure that what's born and dies eats what grows and rots. I had a good day. I hope you had a good day. And I want you to have a good night.